O School. Today's special guest is Carla Frank from Women in Motion Run the World. And I've been waiting for this interview for a while now. I'm so excited. I was trying to think back how long Carla and I have known each other, and it feels like it's a decade, but it turns out it's not quite that long. So Carla is
that because you know me so well, or time moves slowly?
or a combination of both. I think we're in the twilight zone. We're in the COVID zone at the moment. So
yes,
there's a time-space disconnect. But I do want to let you know that Carla runs an exercise program, well, several exercise programs for women in particular to stay in motion and have active, healthy years throughout their lifetimes. And this is a really disjointed introduction, but let's take it away, Carla. So sorry.
Well, that's okay. Well, thank you for the introduction, Kelly. I actually don't consider what I do exercise because so many times people have the viewpoint that exercise is something you have to do. It's like eating healthy. It's good for you. It's something you do, not because you want to, but because, it's one of those things. So I like to consider what I do a lifestyle program. It's about living your best life and living your life to the fullest, right? Because I'm here in Florida. Excuse me for not being in my office, but we're enjoying the sunshine here in Florida. I'm visiting my 82-year-old mom, and my mom is a perfect example of what happens when people get older. That they start atrophying, they stop moving. They think, well, I shouldn't do this anymore because I'm older. And then when you stop doing things, your muscles go to sleep and they forget how to do them. And then you wake up and find out you can't do them anymore. So the key to aging gracefully really is to keep moving, which is why I call my group Women in Motion. And it's called Run the World because once upon a time, we had a goal of traveling to bucket list places and taking walking tours and walking half marathons and 5Ks and enjoying things by foot as a way to keep our bodies moving and enjoy our best lives. Well, with COVID, as you've said, we've gone nowhere. So we're not exactly running the world, except in our own minds, in our own little worlds. But the idea of having an active lifestyle is that it helps you in your whole life, in your physical fitness, your mental fitness. It's really helped me through COVID. I know it's helped a lot of the ladies in our community get through COVID. It can help your business because it helps you focus. And it's a form of self-care that keeps you engaged in your business, right? It can help you with your family life because you're more fulfilled, you have more energy, more stamina. So it's good all around.
Absolutely. And I will confess that I am in your one of your programs. And as I've said a few times, I'm probably your most recalcitrant client, but I'm getting huge benefit nonetheless. Even though I'm not keeping up to my own standards of exercise. Okay, we won't call it exercise because in fact, I don't consider it exercise, but I'm not keeping up to those standards that I've set for myself. I'm still going out there every week and I'm still, making strides in the right direction, even though they're baby steps a lot of the time.
Well, so I want to correct you on the baby steps as well. And one of the reasons why I smiled when you corrected yourself to say your standards, that they're not my standards. But the thing is, part of leading an active lifestyle is changing how you view this, right? It's not something you have to do for 20 to 60 minutes every day on a certain schedule, right? It's about how you live your life. So I would say you're doing great. You're showing up. You're showing up not for me, but for yourself. right? And that's what's important. So many things happen, especially during this past year. We've had so many challenges that just showing up is not only the first step, it's the most important step. So as you know, in my class, I often say, don't be so hard on yourself. Just do the best you can, right? We all start from where we are and go from there. I myself led a completely sedentary lifestyle until not anything possessed me to go and become active. My husband left me. He just didn't come home from work one day. And when I called him and said, what time will you be home? He said, never. And so I started walking as a way to relieve stress. I wasn't trying to exercise. I wasn't trying to get fitter. I wasn't trying to get in motion. I was trying to not kill someone because that's illegal and I didn't have time to go to jail. I had a busy schedule. And so I kept doing it because it helped me do that. And I didn't think of it as exercise and I didn't think of it as training for something. I eventually signed up for my first marathon as a way to give myself a goal. So I felt like I was working towards something rather than just, dealing with stress all the time, because that made me feel bad to think of it as that my life was so stressed. I had to do this all the time. So I gave myself a goal by signing up for a race. But that's the most important thing, is to just show up for yourself in whatever way works for you, and to not be hard on yourself if that looks different than what you think it might look like, right? Because so many coaches will tell you that, your life may be different than what you envisioned when you were a little girl, but that doesn't make it wrong. And, you have the right to move your life in any direction you want. And what I like to do is encourage ladies to move it in the direction that will keep them active and healthy and physically fit, so that they don't have to spend their later years in a wheelchair, that they can be off doing whatever's on their bucket list.
Can I go back? I mean, I love all of this, but I want to go back in time a little bit to, you said that you weren't always an athlete. You lived a sedentary life. And I was a tomboy till I was about 11 or 12. And then things changed for me. And I became much more, I was always a bookworm. I always loved to read, but that became much more my lifestyle than going out and, climbing trees and things like that as I got a little bit older. But what I wanted to say was, in gym class, in high school gym class, I think that's when I really got turned off on exercise, because we were timed on how quickly we did the mile. We were graded on our physical fitness, and we didn't get points so much for improvement as we did for already being at a certain level of fitness. And I think I'm just saying, I think that the only class that I really enjoyed was dance class, because I was able to express myself, and I was not graded on how well I could perform a particular move, but my interpretation and all of that. It had a different flavor to it. And I'm saying all of that to not talk about me specifically, but I think that we get a lot of messages when we're younger, perhaps, that if we aren't the typical athlete that excels at a sport, that athletics is just not for us. And I want to get your feedback on that.
That's very true. So first of all, I'm the kid who failed gym class. We actually did get graded on just participation. You didn't have to be fast. They didn't time us. And yet I still failed because I refused to participate, because I too had a perception that if I wasn't going to be good at it, then why do it? And the answer to that is to have fun, right? When you're young, you think you're very self-conscious. You think you have to be good at something to have fun. But it turns out that that's not the case. Now that I'm 54, I realize I can have fun whether anyone else is having fun or not. And the reason that I picked walking and running and hiking as my main sport of choice is because I could do them, right? I could walk, right? I learned to walk when I was about 1.5 years old. And I've been walking ever since. I've done pretty good. I've sometimes, actually quite often I fall down now that I think about it. But, that's okay. I get back up. As far as running goes, I never did that because you think you have to go a certain speed, but you know what? You don't. There is no certain speed. You just go with whatever makes you happy. People always tell me, I don't like running because it pounds my knees. Well, that's bad. You should have good form so that your knees don't pound. And if you don't know what good form looks like, that's something I can help you with, because you can learn that just like any other skill. Just like you learn to be an informed CEO, you can learn how efficient body mechanics. And as you know, people don't like to huff and puff. Well, you know what? If you're huffing and puffing too much, that just means that your muscles need more oxygen than you're able to take in. So the solution to that is to reduce the load on your muscles and slow down. Yep, that's it. And if a walker, runner, and hiker rather than a runner, because you know what? Whatever speed that's good for your body, and it changes on a day-to-day, at least it does for me. So there's no reason why it wouldn't for you. That's the speed to go, right? It's all about listening to your body, giving it what it needs, what it wants, having a great relationship with your body, because you only get one body in life. So you want to have the best relationship with it that you can, so it will take you wherever you want to go.
Can I just say, I wish I had this kind of education when I was younger, because one of the big revelations that you taught was that I didn't have to asphyxiate, that I didn't have to huff and puff so hard. Every time I run, I'm completely out of breath, and there would be more than a few times when I would throw up because I was just, I would be trying to keep up. I would be pushing myself. And, weird that I didn't get any joy from it.
Yeah, I mean, go figure that you didn't want to keep doing things that made you throw up. I can't imagine why.
Exactly, right? Who would guess? So anyway, but you don't have, this is what you're saying. You don't have to do that. Mm-hmm. It's okay if you run a 16-minute mile, that's not a bad thing. Right?
Actually, a 16-minute mile isn't bad at all. It's okay if you run a 22-minute mile. And by the way, whether you consider what you're doing running, walking, or jogging, it doesn't matter. It's all running, because running is about state of mind. It's not about a certain pace. So sometimes I just walk the whole way, and that's still running. You'll hear me call it running, because it's my intention to get from point A to point B in the best way that I can on that particular day. And sometimes that's running fast, and sometimes that's what other people call jogging, and sometimes it's what people call walking, but it's all the same sport at different speeds on different terrain.
So another thing that you talked about that I thought was super important is your knees, your ankles, your feet, and that it's not just avoiding, it is avoiding injury, but that you can basically set yourself up with the right equipment and the right form so that you don't get those injuries, that it's not a given that you're going to be limping, So
that's what my program is about. These are things that you can learn, how to prepare, how to condition your body. Nobody in high school says, I would like to be a lawyer, so tomorrow I am going to get some clients, go to court, and try that, and defend them on a murder charge, right? Nobody hires a kid out of high school to defend them on a murder charge because they say they want to be a lawyer. But so often people say, I want to run, and so now I'm going to go out and run 5 miles. And I was unsuccessful at that because it hurt, and I was exhausted, and my body wasn't prepared, and I didn't fuel myself properly. So I'm never going to do that again, and it's running's fault. That's like saying you're going to hire a kid from high school to defend you against a murder charge, and when you lose, it's the high school kid's fault, right? My program is called Finding Joy in Motion, and I also have one called Bliss with Your Body. Finding Joy in Motion is about learning all the skills you need to be prepared in order to do the race of distance of your choice at the speed of your choice. And like I said, I was an accidental athlete. I didn't know how to do this. I learned by getting coaches and reading books, but not the kind of coaches who believe in no pain, no gain. That's wrong, right? I'm over 50. Many of us are aging. If I had a penny for every person who said, if you keep running like that, you'll blow out your knees, I'd be rich. But what I don't have is blown out knees. And I did 3 marathons over 3 days, 78.6 miles over a 3-day period, one back-to-back days. And then on the 4th day, I went sightseeing by taking a walking tour of the town, and I felt completely fine. No cowboy walk. I, had fueled properly, so I wasn't exhausted. I had enough energy in my system, both mentally and physically. I had prepared. And that's what this program is about. It's finding out how to prepare so that you can enjoy whatever experience it is that you want to do. I climbed up a Half Dome at Yosemite, and it wasn't physically difficult at all. In the class, I talk about the psychological challenges that are involved in that. And that's something we go over in the class as well, because I so did not think of myself as an athlete that I did not believe in my ability to do many of the things I've since done, because you have to learn how to do it, and then you have to believe in yourself that you learned it, right? So even people who've graduated law school and have a bit of experience can be nervous in the face of a murder trial, right? But once you have experience and once have confidence in your skills, then it's a different story, right? I can't believe I'm talking about murder to the other way. I don't know why that popped into my mind.
Very
like
inspirational.
The most extreme law case I could think of was murder.
So, I thought of an extreme example, and it's way out of left field, and it may be something that other people haven't heard of, but the comedian Eddie Izzard, when you talk about doing your 3 marathons in 3 days, he did 31 marathons. Different pronouns, but did 31 marathons in 31 days, and I was just blown away.
Now, I've never done that, but knowing what I know, I believe that you can train for whatever you decide to do. It's about preparation.
So for those of us who aren't prepared to do that kind of extreme marathoning, people like myself who are just, I don't want to go down the path that I see that my mother went down, my father-in-law went down, and I see my father starting to go down, where, as you said, they become bedbound, or they just move from the bed to the sofa and back again. And it's become even more important than ever that I just stay in motion, that I become a woman in motion, and that I'm moving every day and taking joy in that, because I want to be able to, I want to see the world. I want to do the things. And the only way that I can see to make that a reality is to continue to stay in motion, to walk, to run, to increase my lung capacity and all that. And I think the thing that I love more than anything is the have fun while doing it. So one kind of wrap up, I know we talked about the actual doing a lot, but what we didn't talk about as much was, I know that being in this program, I've had some trouble sleeping for for several months, and that just the amount of exercise that I'm doing, walking and doing it consistently, is helping me increase the amount of sleep I'm getting, and also the quality of sleep that I'm getting. And I'm still working on the other aspects, like being able to get up and clear my mind and, come back with new focus to work, things like that. So can you talk just a little bit more about the impacts that it has in the daily life of an entrepreneur?
Well, you said it perfectly, Kelly, because it not only helps your body, which everybody knows about, but it helps you focus better. So just moving your body reworks the neurons in your brain. So if you're having a difficult work situation and you're trying to solve a problem or a difficult relationship or something that you're working on in a sedentary position, getting up and moving will reset the neurons in your brain. And then when you come back to thinking about that problem, have a fresh outlook, right? So our get just as stuck as our body from sitting. And it also, of course, helps with mental health because you're getting outside, you're getting some fresh air, getting extra air into your lungs by through you mentioned, right? That's helping you invigorate as well as your body. That's going to help you with your business. It's going to joy when you talk to your clients, when you meet people, when you get things done, because it's adding an extra dimension to your life, which is why the joy is so important. It also physically helps you increase your stamina and endurance, which, as we all know, those of us who are hardworking entrepreneurs, right, there's a lot of stamina and endurance required in running a business, right? We're burning the candle at both ends. Wouldn't it be great if your body was stronger and better able to handle that? And that's something that regular exercise or regular motion, not to call it exercise, can help you with.
I love it. There's so much benefit. And again, I don't, there are a lot of people who were athletic in high school, and this just continues that on for them. But I feel like it's really a special message for people who were more like me, that you can actually enjoy it. You can actually have fun with it. It can be invigorating, inspiring, relaxing, basically a great, wonderful dimension to your daily life. So let's just, is there anything that we haven't covered that you want to discuss?
Well, I would like to invite your listeners, if I can, to join us for a walk, because when we originally used to do virtual group walks once a week, and then with COVID, we expanded them daily because people really, that was the only way people could get out, was to walk alone, but nobody really wants to walk alone. So we walk together virtually. In other words, we get together on Zoom, just like you and I are doing now, and yet we walk with our phones. So rather than sitting down and doing yet another Zoom call from your office, you get to go out and have some activity while networking with fabulous ladies at the very same time. So I'm a big fan of multitasking, right? That's how you get it all done. That's how most entrepreneurs get it all done. So you're meeting people, you're enjoying their company, and you're getting some exercise and fresh air into your life at the same time. And the beauty of virtual walks, we'll continue this even when social distancing goes away, if it ever does, is that as a back of the pack runner or a walker or someone very slow, I would go to those group runs that they had at the local running store, and somebody would stay with me, and I would feel bad that they didn't get their run in because they had to walk because I was walking. And so I'd feel guilty, or no one would walk with me, and then I'd be walking alone. So why did I bother to show up at the local running store anyway? The beauty of the virtual group walk is that we're all together and yet all going at the pace that's comfortable for us. So whether you run or jog or hike or walk very briskly, power walk, or walk slowly, or shuffle, or can only do a few minutes at a time, you can still be with the ladies and go at your own pace. So it's something that makes it accessible for everyone. And that is what I love about the virtual group walks. And I would love to invite your listeners to join me. You will provide some information on my website, which is where you can go to register, and it's completely free. And it's just a fun way to meet people, get outside, get moving, and just make it feel fun.
I love that. And that's such a generous offer. And I will testify that it is great to, when you're walking virtually with somebody else, you can keep up a conversation if you've got, you know, an earbud or something in, and you still get to walk at your own pace. They could be running and you're still, you know, keeping pace. And the other thing,
I'm sorry. One of the challenges of being a woman walking alone is, you know, sometimes I don't feel comfortable. What if something happened? Well, that's the beauty. You just tell us. We'll be right there. We'll be the first ones to make sure that aid gets to you. So, I mean, there's so many advantages to joining a walk virtually if you don't have the option of having someone to walk with. And I often have the option to have someone to walk with, and I still like joining the ladies virtual.
Yeah. And the other thing I would say is that you have you mentioned it earlier. This is not, you have people in the group who have very limited mobility right now. And that's just as great as somebody who's really training for a marathon, and we're all teammates. You know, we're all encouraging each other to you know, hit our goals and improve and do all of those things. So I love it. And I'm going to ask you to make sure that you put all your information in the chat so that people can get a hold of you. But if you just type in Women in Motion, right? Women in Motion.
No, WIM Run the World, WIM runtheworld.com. And so another point of our community is you've got that accountability, right? We're going to be waiting for you. So come join us.
Oh, that's
right. You've got accountability, and it's a supportive group of ladies. So whatever your pace, whatever your physical ability, just come and have fun with us. Everyone is welcome and everyone is supported and everyone is held accountable.
Love it. I absolutely love it. Thank you so much, Carla. This was great today. And I really appreciate you taking the time to spend with us.
Thank you so much for having me, Kelly.